Thank you.
Okay. You want me to start over or just continue on?
You've done the land acknowledgement, Mr. Chair, and I think that is fine. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll move on to minutes of our last 2023 annual meeting, which was, well, as mentioned, back February 16th, 2023. Can I have a mover to approve those minutes, please? Tracy, seconder. Joan, any comments or questions on those minutes? All in favor?
Yes.
And that's carried. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, excuse me.
Yes.
Was there any disclosure of pecuniary interest at all?
There was none showing, Linda.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, reports. We have the presentation of our 2023 annual report, and I believe everyone got a copy of that. It was sent, I guess, through it was put in with our agenda for today, and Linda, looks great as usual. Staff do a great job. Is there anyone with any comments or questions on the report?
Mr. Chair, Miriam?
Oh, yes, Miriam, yep.
Oh, just to say that I found the report very well prepared and informative. And
Yes.
I asked for some copies that we could leave in the public information rack at Town Hall.
Oh, I'm sure Linda can get you a few copies. I know we don't run off very many because of the cost of them, but we'll get you a few, that's for sure. Is there anyone else? If anyone else wants any, just get a hold of Linda and I'm sure she'll give them or pass them on to you. So can I have a mover that the chair's report for 2023, the annual report, be adopted as presented? Mover Vicky, seconder Randy, all in favor?
Yes.
That's carried. Thank you. Next up, we have our presentation from our CEO, Secretary Treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair and members of board, 2023 was a very busy year for the Conservation Authority with many successes. Ontario Regulation 687/21 required the completion of a series of progress reports that we have done over the past 2 years, as well as finalizing the programs and services inventory and the completion of the memorandums of understanding with the participating municipalities. I'm pleased to say, even though the Ganaraska did ask for an extension, and we do have an extension until the end of March of 2024, the last MOU was signed by the chair today. So that means that all of the signing on the Ganaraska side, that last one will be sent to the municipality, the last municipality for signing, but all of the MOUs have been completed and signed. So that is a good news story. Staff continue to work diligently in the year to successfully open a majority of the trails in the Ganaraska Forest, and will continue working on the trails throughout the forest in 2024, as well as opening a single track trail in Central Forest in the spring. At this time, I'd like to add my personal thanks to the staff of the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority. The work and the hard work and the dedication that all staff provide is very much appreciated and can be seen every day throughout the organization. As I mentioned, there were many projects and initiatives that are highlighted in the 2023 annual report, but it is the commitment of staff to do their jobs that result in these successes. I would also like to add my thanks to Mark Lovchin, Chair, and the Vice Chair, Vicky Mink, for their support in my role as CAO Secretary Treasurer. Mark, this is the final meeting for you to be in the position of Chair, and I also want to add my thanks to you for your guidance and your vision and support over definitely some challenging times that we've had during your term as Chair. So I thank you very much personally for that support. On behalf of staff, I would also like to thank all the members of the board of directors for their support. The respect and the appreciation for the professional expertise that we have on staff that you show every day to our staff is very much appreciated. And the staff are very grateful for you members as a board. As we move into 2024, staff will move forward the strategies that are required under Regulation 686-21 and continue to advance the programs and services and thrive on the good work of the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, thank you, Linda. And just to answer back a little bit from what you have just said, I mean, it's been a pleasure not only being the chair, but it's been a real pleasure working with the people I've had to work with, whether it be at the board level, but especially at the staff level. They've had a hard year. You know, you think I had a hard year. They had a lot harder year than I did. They had to deal with the public firsthand, and they did it as well as anyone possibly could. I mean, they did the best they could to clean up what was unfortunate. Was a storm that went through, which was unexpected, and the damage it did. But they did a great job. And as chair, I was probably my worst fear at that time was we were going to lose a few staff because of what they had to go through. But I commend them for sticking it out, and I commend the job that they did. They did a terrific job, and I think all the board members appreciate the job that they did. So thank you, Linda, for your hard work for the past year, and you've been wonderful to work with also. And I'm sure our next chair will be just as happy working with you as I was.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have, well, maybe before we go to our financial statements, Linda, we had some questions sent to us.
Yes, and Mr. Chair, we need a motion to receive the report as presented, and further that all action of staff be approved. Yes,
for sure. Okay, do you want me to go there first, Linda, or do you want to answer?
Yes,
go through these questions? Okay, can I have a motion to do that then, please? Randy, seconder Tracy. Any comments or questions by anyone? All in favor?
Aye. Yes.
And that's carried unanimously. Okay, Linda, we had some questions sent to us. Do you want me to read those, and do you want to go through and answer those? They're dealing with the financial statements. I think this is probably the appropriate time, Linda, to do that.
Certainly, or we can have Glenn do his presentation and then do the questions after, or however you want, Mr. Chair.
I think since they were sent in, and because they're not all kind of Glenn type questions, maybe we'll go through them that way.
Sure.
So the first question we have is the statements do not include the name of the auditor on them as of yet.
Yes.
Linda?
Yes, as I explained, the statements, once they are approved by the board, then they're taken back to Lynch Rutherford Tozer, and they will be placed on their paper that has their tag down at the bottom, and they will be signed as well by Lynch Rutherford Tozer.
Okay. Anyone with any further question on that? Nope. Okay, next up we have, and these were questions sent in, so I'm going to read them out because I think it's appropriate to do that, and all board members would be able to hear these and get the same answers that were sent back. So, in the future, would the CRA value for volunteer services be helpful to the GRCA?
So, Mr. Chair, I was unclear as to the context of that question. Certainly, we have a volunteer program. We put expense into training volunteers. We have not had a lot of volunteers, so Glenn may be able to shed. I don't know what the person was truly asking, and what the background or the context of the question.
Sorry, this is.
Oh, that's you, Joan.
Oh, Bruce is joining.
Okay. Is there anyone that needs clarification on that question then?
I could explain a bit the background to the question.
Sure.
Miriam, yeah.
I do know that some organizations keep track their volunteer hour, like the people who volunteer, members of the organization, and what that helps with is funding, requests for funding. But it was unclear to me whether the Conservation Authority would be an entity that would qualify for that approach.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. No, it doesn't. It doesn't help really. It may help when we're applying for when we do in-kind services. When we're applying for a major project, but that's not related to, that would be related to our expertise on staff rather than volunteers.
Okay, does that help? Yep. Okay, next up we have, how is access to reserves done? Do member municipalities have the option to request monies from reserves i.e. special projects?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. On page 12 of the notes of the financial statement, you'll see a list of the reserves. The reserves are directly specified as to what the reserves are for. Municipalities do not have access to the GRCA reserves. They are already appropriated to the specific, whether it be for the TP through the Barb Young, whether it be for helping students through the SAGA, whether it be for the Forest Center for in case of a strike or something, or for land acquisition.
Okay, is there anyone with any questions on that? No? Okay, next up we have relatedly, what happens to a budgeted item in 1 year that is not all spent, or perhaps the project has not yet been completed? How are these commitments tracked for the following audited year?
So this very often happens with the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority, because municipalities, very many of our projects are through with municipalities, and they don't pass their budgets in previous. It's getting better, but in previous times they would not pass their budgets into the next year. For this, for instance, in January or February. So yes, very often there are funds that are deferred, so they are tracked through the expenses, and then a journal entry is done at the end of the year to defer those funds into the following year. And then I've just admitted Lance, just so you are aware. I sorry that I'd missed that. But those are deferred, and then you may recall when we bring the budget forward in some of the projects, you'll see $5,000 deferred, and then the municipal dollars, the new dollars. Those deferred dollars are the dollars that we've brought forward from the previous year. This is in a case where there's a project of multiple years or a program area that's funded. Very often I'll use Clean Water, Healthy Lands, because very often there are deferred dollars that are brought forward from 1 year to the next, depending on the demand of the dollars for those Clean Water, Healthy Land projects.
Okay, is there any questions on that?
And those are all accounted for through the audit as well.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Linda. Next up, we have Auditor's Note 3, government receivables for 2023 were more than double that of 2022. And they're looking for an explanation, or was there a written explanation?
Yep. Absolutely. So our receivables vary from 1 year to another, and it depends on the various projects that we have applied for funding. So some years we'll apply for more funding through municipalities. Other years it may be through the federal, such as the FIMP projects that we are applying for. And those projects, sometimes it can take up to 2 years. So it just really depends on the project and the lag time of the government, whether it be federal or provincial, in providing those funds. So it varies. It's and this year there just happened to be, we had some larger federal FIMP projects, multiple projects that we were expecting funding, and there's an accounts receivable set up for it. So we will eventually get the money.
Okay. Any questions on that? Anyone else? Nope. Okay, next up, does the GRCA have a donor recognition program and related maintenance of?
Yes, we do. We have a donor. We have got a paver campaign, as well as a trees campaign, as well as just simple donations. We do receive a donation from the Van Heberbeck family. We have for the last few years of $10,000 that goes back into the forest. Happens at the end of the year. We do have charitable status, and through Lynch Rutherford Tozer, we do a charitable return every year in the spring. In fact, they're gathering the material right now to prepare that return. So it is all accounted for and recognized. We send certificates and letters back to the donors, or if it's in a memorial, to the family.
Great. Okay, thank you, Linda. Anybody have any further question on that one? Okay, next up we have, how would the owners item for employees affect a board member? Corporate Council has just decided to have council join the owners pension plan. This term, it is an option, but from there forward, it will be mandatory for future councils.
The Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority joined OMERS in 2009. It is only for employees, full-time employees, and part-time employees have the option. It is not offered, there's no mandate for the board members.
Okay, any questions on that one? Nope. And I think that's all. There maybe one other one here.
Oh, there was another one.
Dealing with the annual report. We've already dealt with that it could be sent out. That's not a problem.
Yes.
And for the,
I think that was it, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
Just
yeah,
that I would see that the annual report got delivered.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Linda, for that. And is there any other questions by board members dealing with, and we could ask questions after the report, of course, by the auditor, but is there any other questions before the auditor presents? If not, I will ask the presentation of 2023 financial statements be presented by our auditor, which is Glenn Tosher, please. Glenn, welcome.
Thank you. I apologize for no video. It's not by choice. My computer is not allowing my video to come on, and I don't know why. So it's not that I've muted it. It's just not working. So my part of the presentation will be the independent auditor's report. So it's page 1 in the bottom right corner. I'll read out some of the paragraphs just for the minutes, and then I think Linda's got a presentation to kind of go through some of the numbers. I'll assist her answering any questions that I can. And to answer one of the questions that was put forward, when these statements are approved, that's when the independent audit report will be signed. The draft headings will come off of it, and then the financial statements will be available to everyone at that point. At this point, they are in draft form, and they have not been approved by the board. So the independent auditor's report to the members of the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority. We have audited the financial statements of the Ganaraska Regional Conservation Authority, which comprise the statement of financial position as at December 31st, 2023, and the statements of operations, changes in accumulated surplus, changes in net financial assets and cash flows from the year then ended, and notes to the financial statements, including a summary of significant accounting policies. In our opinion, the accompanying financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the authority as at December 31st, 2023, and the results of its operations and cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with Canadian public sector accounting standards. There's the following paragraphs. There's a basis of the opinion. Then there's 2 paragraphs on the responsibility of management and the board. Then the next number of paragraphs is our responsibilities of the financial statements. So go to the next page. And the bottom of it will be signed Lynch Rutherford Tozer and dated today's date when the statements are approved. That's our part of the statements. I don't know, Linda, do you want to go through the numbers? Do you want me to do any highlights?
Through you, Mr. Chair. The only page I wasn't going to go through all the various schedules. I was going to draw the board's attention to the statement of operations and looking at the budget and the total position of where the Conservation Authority ended December 31st, 2023. So when we prepare the budget, we do prepare the budget, and it looks like we're preparing it for a deficit. What we are preparing it when we prepare it is we are making several purchases from some of the reserve or the capital asset reserve. So the capital asset reserve replaces things such as trucks, equipment, maybe some decks, which we did on the Millennium Building. We did replace a truck. We had it to do some work out at the Forest Center, $100,000, because we are going to be demolishing the gym. That did not happen this year, so that will be carried forward to next year. So when you see that 245, 300, that is because we have that amount was scheduled to come from that reserve. So, and in actual fact, some of those funds did come from the reserve. As I've mentioned, we didn't do the 100,000 for the gym. So in the totals in 2023, we were able to cover anything that we had to take out of the reserves. We did. We also have a $178,000 in 178002 that we removed from the annual surplus, that 183, that goes into the capital asset reserve. So that is also a figure that gets moved over. So the financials were able to cover that, and all in all, the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority was in a good financial position at the end of 2023 and able to dedicate some funds into the forest. And that was also with the help of the Greenbelt Foundation that we were able to dedicate some funds. We are also dedicating some funds that we know from some of the deferred funds that were asked about before, that we will be dedicating roughly $30,000 that we know right off the top. Hopefully there will be able to be more to help assist in getting some single track trails open, and a single track trail open in the Ganaraska Forest Central for mountain biking. We have not been able to get those open. That's a whole other, but because the trails are not necessarily all of them connecting to the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority property, but we are setting aside funds for that. So unless there's any specific questions, which I received that list prior, but I haven't received any other. I was not planning on going through all of the statements.
Hey, anyone with any questions? There being none, is there more for Glenn to carry on with? No?
Not until another part in the meeting, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Well, then we'll have a motion here that the financial statements be adopted as presented for 2023. Can I have a mover to do that, please? Lance, seconded by Vicky. All in favor?
Yes.
And that's carried. Thank you very much. And next we have the final part of our meeting, which is that the business for 2023 for the GRCA be concluded. Can I have a mover to do that, please? Mover by Joan, seconder by Willie, and all in favor?
Yes.
Great. So I'll now turn the meeting over to, I guess Glenn's going to take over and do the elections. And I just like one last statement to say thank you, board, for all you've done. You've been a wonderful group to work with, and I appreciate your input and your questions during the year, and all the best for the new chair and vice chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark.
I'm going to now move us into the beginning of the 2024 business and ask for a motion from the board that Glenn Tozer be appointed election chair. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please?
Moved.
Lance and Randy. All those in favor?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I don't have everybody on my screen, but.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Another motion as that in the event of an election that Linda LaLiberty, again, because we're electronic, be appointed scrutineer for the online ballots, and a confidential poll would be conducted by myself. Can I get a mover and seconder for that?
Sure.
Mark? And I saw Lance's hand. I don't have everybody's hand. I'm sorry. Lance. Okay, at this point, I will turn the meeting over to Glenn Tozer, who will act as our election chair for the positions of chair and vice chair. Glenn.
Thank you. I usually have a script to read here,
Yeah.
so this is a free form, so I apologize if it sounds a little scrambled. I will be calling for nominations from the floor for the position of chair. I will be calling it 3 times, and then I will then ask whoever has been nominated if they were willing to stand. So for the first time, calling for nominations for the position of chair of the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority for the 2024 year.
Glenn, I'd like to nominate Vicky Mink for chair.
Okay.
Second that.
Okay, and calling for a second, are there any other nominations for chair? For the third and final time, is there any other nominations for chair of the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority? Hearing none, I will close the nominations and ask Vicky, are you willing to stand for the position of chair?
Yes, I am.
Congratulations. I guess you are now chair of the Conservation Authority.
Glenn, sorry,
Yes.
I just need a motion that the nominations be closed.
Oh, sorry. Can I have a nomination to close the nominate? Do I have a motion to close the nominations for the position of chair?
I see Randy.
And
Somebody.
Adam.
Oh, Joan.
Okay.
I saw Joan.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay. On to the next. We calling for nominations for the position of vice chair of the Conservation Authority. For the first time, calling for nominations for the position of vice chair of the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority. Yes, Vicky?
I would like to nominate Willie.
Okay.
I would second the nomination.
And calling the second time for nominations for the position of vice chair. And for a third and final time, is there any further nomination for the position of vice chair? Hearing none, I will ask Willie. Willie, are you willing to stand for the position of vice chair?
Yes, I will.
Great. So I'm now looking for a motion to have the nominations for vice chair, the position of vice chair, closed.
I see Lance.
Lance
And
and
Vicky.
Vicky. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Glenn. The meeting will now be turned over to the new chair, Vicky Mink.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for the nominations and the vote. And I also want to take a minute to thank Mark for serving as a chair, as well as a vice chair before that, I believe. So thank you very much, Mark. Okay, so moving on. So number 6, we have the appointment of banking institution and signing officers. So that staff report is attached. And the Bank of Montreal has been identified. So could I have a mover and a seconder for that item? And we moved by Adam, seconded by Willie. And is there any discussion about that item? No, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Yes.
And that is passed. All right, number 7 is the appointment of borrowing resolution, and that's also attached. So I will ask for a mover and a seconder of that item as well. Moved by Randy, seconded by Tracy. Any discussion about that one? No, it's fairly straightforward. So I will call for vote. All in favor? Also passed. Number 9 is the appointment of the authority auditor.
Sorry,
So,
Madam Chair, we're at 8.
sorry,
Sorry.
8, the appointment of authority solicitors. So we have, the motion I have here is that the firm of Mann, McCracken and Associates Port Hope be appointed as the solicitor for Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority for 2024 regarding general administrative and land matters. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that one? Moved by Lance, seconded by Joan. Is there any discussion? No, great. So I'll call for a motion. All in favor?
Yes.
And that's passed. Number
Madam-
9. Sorry.
Madam Chair, for number 9, I will declare a pecuniary interest on this one.
Okay.
Okay, so I won't vote on it.
Okay. Is there any need for a pecuniary interest to turn camera off or anything? No, okay.
That's
All right,
fine.
so for number 9, the motion is that the firm Lynch, Rutherford, Tozer, Port Hope be appointed as the auditor for the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority for 2024. Could I have a mover and a seconder for that one? Moved by Tracy, seconded by Willie. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Okay, that's been passed. And number 10, the motion is that the chair be appointed the Conservation Ontario voting representative, and the CAO/secretary treasurer serve as the alternative. And can I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Mark, seconded by Randy. Any discussion? Okay, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Yes.
And that is also passed. Number 11 this is for the appointment of a board member to the Recreational User Committee. We had Lance on that committee previous, so I am looking for someone to move an individual to be appointed as the Board of Directors representative on the Ganaraska Forest Recreational Committee. Is there anyone who would like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion. If Lance is willing to stand or continue on that committee, I'd be more than happy to nominate him to do that.
I'd be happy to.
I will second that. I'll second that.
Okay, so we have Mark moving it, Willie seconding it, and it looks like Lance might be driving. I hope you're driving safe.
I'm in my driveway.
Oh, okay. All right. Is there any discussion on that? Probably not. All right. Thank you, Lance, very much. Could I have a call a vote for that?
Yes.
All in
Aye.
favor? Great. And number 12 is the meeting schedule that was attached. So the motion is that the GRCA receive the 2024 meeting schedule staff report for information purposes. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Joan, seconded by Tracy. Any discussion about the schedule?
A question
Yeah.
from Miriam. Do I understand correctly that the option of attending in person or via Zoom would still apply for the coming year?
I believe that's the same, Linda.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. Yes, it would be until this board decides they will no longer do hybrid. If you want to revert back to totally in person, but otherwise we would just keep that same format. It's a board decision.
Thank you.
Okay, seems to be working. So is there any other discussion? Okay, so I'll call the vote. Did I get a mover and a seconder?
Yes,
I did.
you did.
Yeah, okay. The vote, all in favor?
Yes.
And that is passed. So that takes us to other business. I don't have any other business at this time. I know we still have a couple sort of items that we'll probably bring back next meeting, but I have no other business. Does anybody else have any other business? Okay. So we do actually have an in-camera today that Linda will speak about. So I will need a motion to go into camera, and then we will turn off the camera. And I'm not too sure, Linda, who would be excused from that, if you could let us know.
Yes,
I'll be leaving now, Glenn Tozer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Glenn, for the nomination.
Thank you,
Yep.
Glenn.
Okay, have a good rest of the meeting.
Thank you.
you.
Just to move it along, I'll move we moved in camera.
Okay, so Randy has moved that and seconded by Bruce. Do I need an all in favor vote to move into camera?
Sure.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
All right, and everybody else should be in attendance, Linda?
Yes, I'm going to pause the.
Okay, so we have just come out of camera where the board has discussed a matter. So we're looking at this time that the board give direction to staff to proceed with what was discussed in camera. Is that good? Okay, so I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Mark, seconded by Tracy, and I will call the vote for that. All in favor? That has been moved, and that concludes our annual general meeting for this year. And I'm looking for someone now to adjourn the meeting. And that's Adam. And I don't think I need a seconder, do I?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much, everybody. And also again, thank you, Mark, for chairing.
Well, congratulations to you and Willie. Well, all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. And happy Family Day, everyone.
Happy
Yes.
Family
Yes.
Day, and drive safe
Thank you.
for those that are
Drive-
driving now.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
All the
Thank
best.
you.
Safe trip home. Thank you.
Yes,
I
take
know.
care.
Okay. Bye-bye.